Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Rams House Podcast. I'm your host, Ethan, joined by Will and Joe today. What's going on, gentlemen?
What's up, boys? We're not dead yet. Let's go.
We're not dead yet. Episode 9. We've made it through 9 episodes, guys. I'm pretty happy. We're doing good. We're being consistent about getting our videos out on time and trying to provide you guys with some consistent content, some balanced takes. I know Joe says some crazy stuff every now and then, but we try to reel him in and keep it all balanced and fair. But we appreciate you guys watching. We hope you guys enjoy this episode. Today we're talking about the Rams barely staying alive for the season with the win over the Raiders. It's not the greatest victory, Monday, victory Tuesday, whatever you want to call it. We're recording on Tuesday. I have heavy mixed emotions. We'll kind of go into that. How are you guys feeling?
I feel all right. We won by the hair of our chin, chin, chin. It wasn't the greatest win, but the big cliche all the coaches say: a win is a win.
Yeah.
Win is a win. It is what it is.
Yeah. No, I'm with you, Joe. I mean, cliches are cliches for a reason. I know it's kind of annoying thing to say, but it's the NFL, man. Any win you can get. I mean, we talked about it last episode. They have some good players on their team, especially their defense. I'll freaking take it, man. I mean, last year, I think after the bye, we had like a really ugly, awkward win against Seattle too, and then we went on a roll. So I'll take it, man. I'm happy about it.
I'm kind of split on it because I think the reality is that can be true, but there's some wins where it's just like it's so ugly and it feels like you didn't really do anything to deserve to win. It is nice to get a win, but when it comes to the situation we're in, a lot of times it's about predicting whether we can have that future success, right?
Yeah.
And the future prediction that I get from this victory is not good. It's more negative than anything, and I think that's why I'm more bummed out. It's a win, and we have 2 wins now, but is it going to lead to more wins? I don't think that we saw anything to really prove that, in my opinion. And so let's get into it. Let's talk about the Rams Raiders recap. It was ugly in really every sense of the word. Alexander Madison looked like the reincarnation of Adrian Peterson against us. He was
not surprised about that.
No, we predicted it.
Yep.
Brock Bowers had one of his best weeks of the season against us, which is saying something because he's having an amazing start. It's crazy because we didn't. We're both injured. Both teams are injured. They're missing their 2 starting receivers from when the season started. So are we.
Yeah.
They have injuries on both sides of the ball. Christian Wilkins is out for the season, which is their second best player on defense. They have some other offensive pieces who are injured, and they don't have the ability to put in Tutu Atwell and guys like D-Rob and stuff who are legit NFL players. Like they're playing significantly worse receivers than us with Devontae Adams traded and Jacoby Myers being hurt. So they were already slim pickings to start, and then they got worse. It's super tough to be happy about a victory like that, in my opinion, because I said it to you guys on day of during the game. I think if Aiden O'Connell doesn't get hurt, we lose the game. Gardner Minshew, that's a crazy part. Like the turnovers weren't even like insane plays. It wasn't something like, oh my gosh, that play was incredible. It was like,
well,
Gardner Minshew's a moron.
The Durant forced fumble, I would say, was a great play.
True.
Other than those, I agree with you.
All 3 picks were complete and utter.
The picks were.
They were just terrible decisions. I mean, I have a really good friend who's a Raiders fan, and he watches the game without commercials with TiVo or something later. So he at halftime he starts texting me as the game is starting for him, right? So he watches the whole thing through with no commercial stuff. And he just goes, well, this game's over. Gardner Minshew's coming in.
Yeah.
And he just knew it immediately because Gardner Minshew just does that.
And that's why he got benched. Exactly. He just can't take care of the ball.
Man, and I know I'm the Grinch, right? But like I can barely even be happy about the turnovers because we're not going to get gifted stuff like that against good teams and good quarterbacks. Like they're not. Gardner Minshew gift wrap those, put them in a guy's hands, and beg them to not to drop the ball. It was just awful.
Just big, I guess, big picture. The one thing I could say that I guess spins it more positively, although what I agree with you. Everything you're saying is fair. Is if Cardi makes that field goal and that extra point, it's a 24-15 win. I mean, that I'd feel okay about that. Winning by 9. I think. But on the other hand, the like process over results we always talk about, and McVay always talks about that. The offense, the way the offense played, it has to be a concern. Although yeah, we're missing Cooper Cup, we're missing Puka, we're missing Whittington, but man, I mean, you have to put like the only time we moved the ball on offense was like on a short field after turnovers. But throughout the day, just by and large, we were not able to move the ball at all. Now that defense is better than I gave it credit for, and we even mentioned some of the players like
Sure.
Morig, Nate Hobbs, but they actually have talent everywhere. I guess that's like another positive spin I could put on it. I mean, they have Crosby, they have Spillane, the other linebacker is really good. Again, in the secondary, Hobbs, Morig. So it was a better defense than I gave it credit for. So I guess I can give him a little bit of a pass. Stafford without his receivers, a good defense, but overall, just not the performance you want to see from the offense. Period. Even with those injuries.
Yeah, I agree. Offensively, I think that's a whole another thing, and I would probably lean towards Ethan on being a Grinch on that side. That side is because I know I always mention Cooper and Puka being out and Avila and Jonah being out. That's a big deal, and I think that's cool to admit that's a big deal. But the things Stafford doing is those are just concerning things that he's doing week after week offensively.
Yeah.
But the only reason why I'm sort of happy about this game is because the way I look at things sometimes is I like to see when you're bad, the only way to go is up. So it's always positive when you take steps. Like this, Aiden O'Connell to me sucks. Gardner Minshew sucks. So my thing is, if I'm a coach and I'm looking at my defense, this is the week you're supposed to dominate. This is the week you're supposed to get turnovers. So when they do it, okay, it could be you could look at it, each way because the quarterbacks do suck they're going against, but at least they did what they were supposed to do. And week after week, we haven't been doing what we're supposed to do. So this was one of the rare weeks that we've done what we're supposed to do, getting the turnovers, sacking the QB, and really just the secondary because the defensive line usually does their thing, but the secondary to me finally looked like they took a step, and we'll see what they do against Minnesota because that's a whole different animal. But I feel like I'm pretty positive on the secondary right now.
I hear
Now,
that.
when we see, I want to, I understand what you're saying, but I want to apply it both ways, right? We're going to give Stafford a break because he's missing his top 2 receivers, but we have to acknowledge the defense was playing against the quarterback, against the backup quarterback, against the starting 2 receivers, both backups, and I think they're missing an all lineman or two too. They're as banged up, or really more so than the Rams are, because they're
No,
missing
no,
their starting
I agree.
quarter. So, but that's what I'm saying. When
I
we're
agree.
evaluating our defense, do we give the same leeway to their offense and say, okay, it's one of the worst offenses in the NFL, right? And
hmm
they're missing 4 or 5 starters on that side of the ball. So do we say, okay, maybe we can't get too hot and too excited about that defensive performance because of that?
Well, yeah, yeah. I mean, that's a good point, but they didn't give up a touchdown, so they did move the ball, which is now the Madison point. Alexander Madison, him doing what he did, and that probably been his best game of the season, or maybe his second. That might have been his best game of the
That's
season.
his
If you
best
ask
game
me,
of his career. He lit.
right? That's the best game of his
No,
career.
no, no. He just to your point, he doubled his scrimmage yards today from any other game this season. It was twice as good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that happening is bad, but
They're a horrible rushing team too. Like
yeah, we're
a
awful. And
horrible
another
rushing
thing I
team.
come back to
One
is
of the worst in the
they didn't
NFL.
score. They didn't score a touchdown. Of how
Yeah.
bad seemingly our defense is, they didn't score.
I would,
So that's
Yeah.
just something.
being the Grinch, I will give one piece of credit to the defense, the red zone defense,
Yeah.
not just the execution. That
Mhm.
was one place where Shula shined this game.
Yes.
Was his red
Yeah.
zone play calling was really good. So let's go
Yeah.
ahead and move into the offensive takeaways, and we'll kind of break down each side of the ball.
Yeah.
Um, my offensive takeaway was just it was bad. I really thought it was bad all around.
There's a take. Yeah. It was.
There's only one player that I genuinely thought was like really good, and I'm gonna say that for my stock up, okay? But there's not a whole lot of positive things to say here. I thought the
Yeah.
play calling
There's
was
really not.
mediocre. I thought this was one of Stafford's worst games in a Rams uniform.
Yep.
I thought Kyron was not good at all, and it was crazy because we're in voice, and it was like there was 2 or 3 situations where we were like, okay, it's 3rd and 4. Kyron does good in these situations, short yardage, 3rd and 3, 3rd and 2, 3rd and 1, whatever, right? And he would pick up, he came up short like 4 times or 4 or 5
Yeah.
times throughout the game where he failed to pick up a first down on short yardage, and it was freaking mind boggling because there was good holes. I thought it was just the offense was just trash. I can't. I'll go more in depth about it during my stock up. But to me, the only part of the offense that was really good, and I thought they were really good. I'm not talking like they were decent. I thought they were really good in both aspects of the game. Was the O line? I genuinely thought. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
let's go to the stats. We're talking about offense here. Let's go. They gave up 2 quarterback hits all game against a
Yeah.
pretty good pass rush. I know they're a little injured. They still have Max Crosby.
Yeah, it's still a good pass rush for sure.
And that was a good game plan by McVay. He talked about how they regularly chipped almost every play. They chipped Crosby. That's smart. Wendell, I'm sure, had a heavy hand in that. But the O line performance, the coaching of the O line, the performance of the O line, is the only positive thing about this. Except for I'll add in Xavier Smith looked great on those end rounds. I think he's actually got a legit calling for that. So
Yeah.
it was solid. But yeah, the offense was putrid.
Hey, Ethan, real quick,
Yeah.
real quick. Speaking on the O line, that left tackle, his name is Alaric Jackson.
Yep.
I want you guys just to keep noticing him week after week. He's been getting better and better and better. And like I said 3 weeks ago, I don't think he's the future, but I think that's somebody we got to keep our eye on because he's been getting better, better, and better.
So the reason why Joe brings it up towards me is because I'm not an Alaric Jackson believer. I will say he's played higher than my expectations. Now, my main issue with Alaric Jackson is not that Alaric Jackson is bad, and I don't think I've ever said he's bad. What I've said is that he's serviceable, and knowing Sean McVay's scheme and how dependent we are on keeping the QB clean, I want an elite left tackle. We performed best with an elite left tackle when Whitworth was at his best. The offense hummed, right? It wasn't even a question. And so, in my personal opinion, and you guys feel free to disagree in the comment section, Alaric Jackson's ceiling is apparent to me. He's never going to be a top 10 left tackle in his career. Now, he's a serviceable starter. He would be a top tier backup, but not a top 10 left tackle. And for the Rams, for what we do, for what we need for McVay's offense, I want a top 10 left tackle and especially an elite pass blocking left tackle.
Yeah.
And
I
so,
mean, on Alaric.
go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was just going to finish off by saying that's why I'm out on Alaric as a long-term option, is because I think that is probably the most important single position on a Sean McVay run team. Like, no cap, because you guys have seen the charts, right? Pass protection equals offensive performance for McVay every single season that he's been a coach. So in that vein, and it's pretty much a guarantee we're going to have a right-handed quarterback. That blind side needs to be protected for a Sean McVay offense to be good. And I want to make sure we have a top 5 pass pro there and a top 10 overall guy there.
Yeah, I mean, as much credit as, when we won that Super Bowl, I know Andrew Whitworth, he was a household name and people gave him credit, but like he still didn't get the credit that he deserved. It was, Matthew Stafford and Cooper Kupp and Von Miller and Aaron Donald. Like, however much credit Andrew Whitworth got, it wasn't enough. He was a huge, huge reason why. And actually, forget the Super Bowl. Like, go backwards. We had him since 2017. So really, to me, Andrew Whitworth was one of the reasons why our team turned around completely. But Joe, I'm starting to get to the point where, well, I'll put it this way. I'm at the point where I'm open. I'm open to him being the guy because he has, like Ethan said, I think he's outplayed my expectations. But for me, it's just all about the price tag, man. Like, if he continues to play well and he wants, like, franchise left tackle money, like, I think I'm gonna have to be out on that. But one more thing I thought of is, man, if we can get but if we can get the right 4 guys around him, though, like shore up the left guard spot, the center spot, figure out our rotation. Because, like, Ethan, to your point, you made the point about Joe Barksdale last episode, I think. Like, sometimes O-line is just about, it's not just about the individual, but if you can get the guys next to him that gel and are playing well and are consistent, I think it can make Alaric be a borderline. I think he can play like a borderline, top 10 left tackle. So all that to say is I'm open to it. It depends what the price tag is, but I like how he's playing right now. How about that? That's what I'll say. He's doing a good job right now.
serviceable.
Yeah.
I want an anchor at left tackle.
Yeah, I hear you.
By
just
the way,
talking
real quick, Ronnie
yeah.
Stanley's a free agent next year. So
I mean,
here's the bottom line.
Yeah.
If
how old is he? Let me check.
He's
I'll
like
check
20,
while
he's
you're
like
talking.
29, I think. I can check. I'm looking at him right here.
30, he's 30. That's not like, it's not horrible.
No, for a left tackle, he is 30 right now, so he'll be 31 next season.
Yeah, I mean, that's not bad.
He has 4 good years left.
2-year deal. Yeah, 2-year deal, 3-year. Yeah.
Yeah. So to your point, if Alaric Jackson's within $10 million a season of Ronnie Stanley, I'm just gonna pay Ronnie Stanley instead.
Yeah. No, I hear you. And like, there's a lot said there. Like you said, like not a lot to like, but you mentioned the third down runs. Like there was like 3 or 4 3rd and 2s where Kyron's just getting stuffed, but then McVay would just go to it again. But the thing about it that bothers me is not just the play calling, but if you're watching the game, it's so obvious that the Raiders are selling out to stop the run. Like there's like, 8 guys in the box. Like I don't even know if that might be on Stafford at that point. I think Joe, you might have said this during the game. Is like he's got to audible out of that, or something. Or McVay's gotta just like they're selling out to stop the run, and you're just feeding into their hands. And it's not that it happened once. Like once any play call, you can have a bad play call once, but it's like it would happen, and then we would get the ball next possession, get in the same situation, and like do it again and get stuffed. It's like, what are you doing? And just like. Not just on the 3rd and 2s, but just throughout the day, it looked like the Raiders' plan was like, we are going to sell out to stop the run. And the fact that Stafford couldn't take any sort of advantage of that, like I get the receivers aren't great, but they're like okay, Tutu Atwell's shown he can play a little bit. Demarcus Robinson's all right. Tyler Johnson, maybe he's a little bit less than all right. But they're okay.
Wait, hold on. You know what? I'm a Tyler Johnson hater. I want to say one thing about him. That's 2 big yak plays. You just got to identify what Tyler Johnson's good at and get him the ball with a little space and let him go. He's not a guy who's going to make contested catches. He's not going to run great routes. He's not going to catch balls over the middle. He's not going to catch deep balls. But darn it, that's too. I mean, that isn't easy to do at the NFL level. There's guys we've never seen have as good a run after catches as he's had twice now. So you gotta. I think we need to, if we're going to utilize him, we got to put him in a better position to succeed.
Yeah, I hear that.
Yeah.
Go ahead,
well, hold on. Before we move on, I want to your point, Will. I did the research while we were talking, but it was this first drive here, or not the first drive. It's the 3rd drive, but the first drive that Corum, the only drive Corum saw the field. Corum actually was running well.
That was another issue. Just really quick.
Yeah.
What's going on, Sean? What's going on? Seriously, he gets carries last game. He looks great. Like what is going on? What more do you want to see? It's just there's just no explanation for it.
Okay.
They even said on the broadcast, because you know how they do like the production meetings where they meet with the teams. They were like, yeah, like McVay was saying, like we'll do like 2 series for Kyron, 1 series for Blake. I don't know if you guys heard that.
Yep.
I mean, what the. I don't want to curse.
No. It's wild, and it's
so frustrating because he's averaging. He's not. Kyron's getting 3.7 yards per carry. It's not like you can't take him off the field. Like it doesn't make any sense to me. Sorry, I know you.
No.
You're about to go a whole different direction, but
I had some technical difficulties there. But let me. I lost my mouse cursor and started clicking on random things. So okay, but let me show you here what we got. Corum actually runs for 11 yards on 3 runs, and he runs for a 5-yard gain. It was a pretty good run, and then he's immediately subbed out for Kyron on 3rd and 4, who runs for 3 yards. And I remember we were invoiced, and it was clear Kyron had an opening there for a lot more yards than 3. And then he gets badly stuffed on the next play. And then the next series was the same thing. It was Kyron run. Then at 3rd and 2, he got stuffed, punt. And then in the second half, we had the same thing. 3rd and 2, Kyron gets stuffed for a 3-yard loss. So out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 drives, we have 3 of them end with Kyron failing to pick up a 3rd and short or 4th and short.
that was so aggravating.
It's problematic when that's the best thing that you do. That's like the best thing you bring to the table. I think that's a bit problematic, and it was I'm trying not to be too much of a Kyron hater, even though it's unavoidable for me. But it felt really deflating to like, because it felt like it feels like those are the one things you can count on as a Rams fan. Is like, okay, it's third and short. Kyron's going to pick up that first down. So for him to fail to do that 3 times, it felt like it took a lot of air out of the room for the Rams as a team when that happened.
I agree, but I put that on Sean, man. I put that on Sean. After the first one, and again, you're not getting the right look. It's 8 man in the box. I agree with you on Kyron not running well, but I put that on Sean.
It's true.
Yeah. Like I was saying earlier, just wanted to harp on what Will has said. That was a great point. You mentioned the audible thing that I talked about on Sunday.
Yeah, yeah. That was your
This is
point,
a
and it
point
was a good one.
that it's something that irks me about Stafford, and it's been like that for years. Because I know you got well, Ethan knows I always talk about how Stafford he doesn't like to throw the ball out, throw the ball away enough for
Yeah.
just for my liking. That's something I think he should do. But to me, specifically on that play where Stafford been in the league 15 years, I've seen him audible out of plays plenty of times, and we could all see on the TV that the box was stacked. The linebackers that came up, the safeties that came up, you could see they were ready for the run. And
Yep.
that's the thing that I didn't like about Jared Goff back then would be certain times where he would get the play call and then just run the play. Even after looking at defense, he would just run the play. And
Mm.
that's what Stafford did. He seen it, looked, and still just ran the same play. I just feel like that at that moment you blame it on Sean McVay, of course, because he's the top of the tree. But at some point, a 15-year vet has to see that because if Tom Brady sees that, you know what Tom Brady's going to do. He's going to
Yeah.
audible out of that. He might go play action, get the tight end out to the sidelines, or do something like that. So that's just something that I wish Stafford would do, and I think we could be
Yeah.
more successful, especially in plays like that.
Joe, I wonder if the reason he didn't do it is because he doesn't trust these receivers to beat man, or to quick, in other words, to quickly get open against that type of
Mhm.
look, because they're not really the type of receivers that get open, quickly. I wonder if that's part of it, but I totally
Yeah,
agree,
yeah,
Joe.
yeah. I get that.
Any
Um,
other offensive takeaways?
No, not for me. The offense was
uh,
awful. Offense was awful again. The running game was Kyron had one beautiful play that I liked. That run he had from like the I think the 20-yard line. That
that was
that
a
was
nice
pretty
run.
good. I like.
That
Yeah, I
was a
like.
cute little run. No, I'm
Yeah,
just kidding. It was good. It was a good run.
beautiful play.
I
That
think
was nice.
Ethan mentioned the jet sweep to Xavier Smith.
Two
I
of them.
like that.
Yeah, I love that.
We mentioned that on the last episode, and I was thinking about, like, in my head, I was like, why don't we used to do that all the time in 2017 and 2018, and I think I know why we don't do it anymore. It's because back then, Cooper Kupp and Robert. This is my theory. You guys can tell me what you think. But Cooper Kupp and Robert Woods were the type of receivers that always, when they went in motion in that obvious spot between the quarterback and the running back, they actually a lot of times were good blockers. So they would
Mm-hmm.
come up with that motion and actually go and like hit a wham block on a or like a lead block on a run. But when you have like Tutu Atwell doing it,
Every
it's like,
play. Yeah.
okay, buddy, he's not going to be blocking anybody on a lead block. So I think that's why we don't do it anymore, because it's too telegraphed. But hey man, I mean, it worked. It worked that time. I like to see that. Um, and then just like one other quick thing I have is I have the feeling that the reason why Cup and Whittington didn't play is not just that they weren't ready for Sunday, but I think the staff was thinking like it's not just about playing Sunday, but then having to turn around and play like 3 days later on Thursday night against a good team. I think that was part of it, because it was weird with Whittington that they said he was healthy and then he just like didn't really, he got like one snap or something. Like
Got
that
9.
was kind of weird to me. So I think they never say that they're looking ahead to the next opponent, but I think that's exactly what happened.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I agree with that. I think they're looking up to the next opponent. And I think Jordan probably. I don't know if Jordan's going to play the snaps he did before, because I don't know if he's 100% healthy. But I think he plays a lot more than what he did yesterday.
Yeah, because I mean he was active, so it was
Yeah.
weird that he didn't play.
All right. Let's move on to defensive takeaways, and let's take a little peek about how we did here. Hoyt had a sack. Kobe had a sack. We had 3 interceptions and a forced fumble. It's kind of hard to be excited about any of this, to be honest. It was, like I said, it just wasn't.
Man, I'm excited, baby.
I
I'm
could
excited.
get, I could talk myself into being excited. It's a little copium.
The pressure was great. I can be excited about that, but it's been great every game. You know, the
Yeah.
interceptions were just, I don't want to say they were not deserved, but they weren't earned. It was just Gardner Minshew gifting
Hey,
balls.
that one, Kobe. No, The one Kobe had, I think he made a good play on that one.
Yeah, and you could argue
When
the
he dived
pressure
through.
Which
is
one? The
what made it.
first one?
Yeah, I think he made a play on that one for a little bit. The one
Yeah,
he had to dive.
I agree, but at the same time, it's freaking Gardner Minshew throwing the ball with no power behind it while he's getting sacked. Bro, it's just a
He's an
stupid
NFL
decision.
he's an NFL quarterback, man. I mean, the
I
guy's
don't
made a
know.
play.
But
I'm
okay,
kind of with Joe in the sense that like, yeah, it's a bad offense, but at least you got the result that you should get against a turnover prone QB. Like four turnovers is four turnovers. Like no matter how you slice it, like I'm gonna be happy with that.
okay.
And
So then, why don't we take a look at the other side of the coin? Right? They far exceeded their average of yards per game this
yeah,
season, despite giving us 4 free possessions away where they barely got any yards.
yeah, and both things are true. And that is my biggest gripe was the fact that they were able to run the ball against us when they're a horrible running team, and they did move the ball better than I would like. So
Are we going to
yeah,
face another
both things are
team?
true.
Are we
Both
going to
things are true.
face another quarterback this bad for the rest of the season?
Probably not. But hey,
Oh,
like, look, there's positives and negatives. I mean,
I got one. I got one. Just
what QB that we're gonna face?
yeah,
Who?
Who?
yeah. That QB in Miami, but that might be
Tua's
controversial.
back, by the way. I literally just saw it on TV when I was walking
Tua's
over.
back.
Tua's saying he's gonna play,
That guy
which
sucks. But
I'm
we can
selfishly I'm bummed because I would have liked to have them without Tua. But look, you're both right. Like there's no, it's not like one person's right and one person's wrong. The turnovers were nice. The fact that they moved the ball against us is not nice, especially when they're not a good offense.
hmm
But Ethan, you mentioned this too. Red zone defense was great. Offense put the defense in some really bad spots with turnovers and a failed fourth down conversion. Defense working with some short fields and stepped up. They stepped up at the end of the game. So there's some things that I look at it and I'm happy. And guys, this is like my overall take on the whole thing. Performance wise, it's not even that I'm excited so much about the performance. What encourages me is that we started to use our players in a way that I agree with more
Oh, that's
and
a great
makes
point.
more
Yeah,
sense. And
the
like
Cam Curl.
yeah, I was about to say I was
Yeah,
going there, bro. That's my
go
boy.
ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Prime
Go ahead.
example, Cam Curl. I literally was skipped through the game like a third time just to watch where Cam Curl lined up. And I really liked how they used him. There was a lot of plays where he had the same depth as Reeder and Roseboom, basically effectively a third linebacker. He was closer to the line of scrimmage. I think he played a lot. It made a lot more sense to put him there. So all that to say is, look, the thing with Shula, man, like I've been as hard on him as anyone, but to be fair to him, he's a new DC. There's a lot of young players, rookies, new pieces. It's fair to say it could take this guy some time to learn where to put everyone. And I think we saw a step in the right direction of like, okay, this player, it makes more sense for them to be in this role. Quentin Lake, I think, was probably deployed a little bit better in this game. Cam Curl, I already mentioned. So I think in that sense, we took a step in the right direction.
I agree. I agree. And I think we're the second youngest team in football, actually.
The second
Something like that.
youngest, yeah,
I think we're like the second youngest team in football.
yeah, I think yeah,
We're super young.
yeah,
Yeah. So
yeah,
my main defensive takeaways is it's been same old, same old. We had great pressure, couldn't finish very well. Um, the 4 young defensive linemen, your 2 edge rushers, Jared Verse and Byron Young, Kobe Turner and Braden Fisk all played well. Bobby Brown was terrible. Inside linebackers were terrible. I actually thought this was the best game we've had from our safeties all season, between Quentin
yeah,
Lake and
totally,
Cameron Curl.
totally
Um,
agree.
I'm not going to I'm not going to give a passing grade to the corners. They were literally guarding, guys who were working at 7-Eleven last week.
Yeah,
It's just impossible to give them a grade. They almost got no
yeah,
targets, and the guys that they were guarding are just not very good at football. Certainly
Yeah.
not yet. Maybe they will develop into something. I don't really know enough about them, but they were lacking. And that shows with the fact that Madison cleaned us out. Let me go back to the stats here. Madison put up 92 yards on 23 carries. And honestly, his yards per carry was closer to 5 most of the game. He got stuffed a few times at the end of the game, so that kind of went down. He cleaned us out better than that. And then he had the 3 catches for 31 yards. I mean, overall, his yards per touch is excellent. He had 123 yards, which is, like I said, more than double what he's had all season long. So, yeah, it was bad. And then we had Brock Bowers had a stellar game against us, one of the best he's had of the season. I just, like I said, they moved the ball plenty. I appreciate the turnovers, but again, I'm forward looking and I'm going, is this performance repeatable? Is there anything about happened in this game that's repeatable? And the turnovers to me are just simply a no,
Yeah.
with the exception of the Kobe Durant strip sack, because you're talking about a play um, where it actually works. Kobe being in the slot and blitzing the quarterback, he had a couple of nice blitzes, to be honest. I actually really like Kobe in that blitzing position from the slot. So to me, that's a repeatable thing. The pressure is repeatable from our big guys. In fact, let's talk about that a little bit. I think I got this stat here. Everyone in this graph is in the top 35 pressure rate. And as you can see, Jared Verse is basically second to pressure rate to Will McDonald. His time to pressure isn't nearly as good as Myles Garrett, who's, almost 0.3 of a second faster, which is a lot for this chart. We got Braden Fisk over here on the end as a DT. He's one of only a couple DTs on this whole list. And then we have Byron Young. And
Byron.
I feel confident in saying that Kobe Turner is just off this list, but he's also one of the most double teamed guys in football. So he's doing his job. Kobe Turner's balling as well. Like I said, those 4 guys are just doing great. It's just and that's why I'm down. It's because I just feel like there's too many holes to fix on defense before we can make it really, really good.
Yeah. Real quick, before we move on, one thing I want to just reiterate. I say reiterate, but one thing I want to just talk upon is, like, when it comes to the turnovers, we're not going to get 4 turnovers against the Vikings. Even though Sam Darnold is sort of iffy. I mean, he's a good quarterback, but the way he's been playing, I don't really know if that's the real Sam Darnold.
Sure.
But with Jettis being out there, they have better weapons. They have better running backs. We're not Aaron
Much
Jones is
better
really
O
good at
line. Their O
backfield.
line's balling this year.
Yeah. So not the turnovers, but one thing that Will harped on, that's a positive for me, and that could be moving forward, is the Cam Curl adjustment, moving him more
Yeah.
inside. I think that makes the defense better, and blitzing Kobe Durant more, and
Blitzing
also
Curl had a couple nice blitzes too.
Yeah. We
yeah,
blitzed a ton in that game. Like
I'm a
a
harp
lot of
on it.
different guys.
Yeah, I'm gonna harp on it a little more during the stock ups, but Kobe improving, because I feel like he's been getting better week to week. So him improving, I think that can be sustained. But the
Yeah.
turnovers, that was, of course, that was a game against a bad QB, a bad offense. That's
Yeah.
going to happen, and I'm glad they did it, just because you do that to a bad offense. But I feel like the adjustment Shula made could be something that
It's
we can
true.
look forward to in the
Yeah.
future.
That's a
Yeah.
bright
And,
spot.
and I think we all agreed that even before Trey White got benched, we all thought the corners were doing okay. It was the safeties that I think we all agreed were the issue. So to see if the safety room is going to become, we have a better handle on whose role is what, that is a big, help, because that was our biggest issue in the secondary. And then, like you said, Joe, like Sam Darnold, he has been playing well, but what he has been doing, even though he's been playing well, is make mistakes. So, well, anyway, we're gonna do the preview, but I think, man, the pressure that this defensive line is getting, if the secondary can keep, taking steps in the right direction, like we could be looking at like a couple turnovers in this on Thursday. But I know we'll get to that later. But
All right.
Mhm.
Let's head over to stock up. Stock up on offense. We'll start with offense. My stock up on offense is actually Bo Limmer. I thought he was the best O lineman yesterday. I thought he's been pretty stellar all season. Stellar enough that I'm comfortable getting rid of Jonah Jackson this offseason and making Bo Limmer the starting center and Steve Avila starting left guard. I think we're set at 4 positions for the future on the O line for at least the next couple of years. And then that left tackle needs to get shored up. But I'm really excited about Bo Limmer being what we expected and beyond that, even better, because he's being thrusted in there sooner than we all anticipated. The O line as a whole has been great for me for like the last 3 or 4 weeks, but Bo Limmer has just been well above expectations. And I went from being excited about a 6-rounder to being excited about a future starter.
bro, Bo Limmer's got to be like a Hall of Famer for you at this point. because you've stocked him up like 4 times. So it's like,
Yeah, but he had a lot to
You-
go.
you-
He started as a 6rounder, so it's been
no, no,
like
no.
he's a
I'm with
future
you. I'm
starter
just
now.
saying
Yeah,
I'm just saying you're like your stock is super, super high on the guy now, and I'm not
pumped.
disagreeing. I like him a lot. That was a really, really clutch find. Actually, we would be really screwed if he wasn't playing so well.
Yep.
Um, I'm just gonna go really quickly. It's sort of similar. Justin Dedich, is that how you say his name? I don't even know. Left guard, the guy who played for they
Russ.
replaced Logan Bruss with him. Didn't allow a pressure. Played solid in the run game. Like didn't knock my socks off. But dude, if you're an undrafted free agent in your first start and you didn't allow a pressure, I didn't even know your name a few days ago. So stock up for you.
Yeah. For me, I really don't have a player to really say he had a great game, but I do want to do a shout out. Ethan, if you could cue my graphic, please, sir.
Oh my
Hesitantly.
So I
god.
want to shout out Kyron
No,
Williams.
no way. Wait,
Let's
hold up. You're
touchdown.
serious? Or is this a bit?
Shout
Is
out
this like a
Kyron.
bit?
Shout out Kyron Williams, 22 touchdown, the most by any Rams player. So I just want to shout him out. He's been not amazing, but he's been scoring the ball. So he had two years. He had two yesterday. And if you're a better, any betters out there, be on DraftKings, Underdog, whatever it is, bet Kyron's over on touchdowns every time he's going to hit it. That's my stock up.
So if you
All
guys
right.
have watched the pod, you know that anytime we give, anytime Joe's overly praising of Kyron Williams, we have to bring him back down to earth. And saying he hasn't been amazing is the most charitable thing I've ever heard, bro. Like of my life. So let's bring him back down to earth with some other numbers here.
Okay, we're gonna veer off for a
We're
second.
gonna veer
talk
off
about
for a
that.
second. We're talking about Kyron now. This is the opponent's rushing yards per game, and as you guys can see right here, Las Vegas 23rd, allowing 136 yards a game. And as we can remember, Kyron Williams was far less than that. And then we can look at here, their yards per attempt giving up is 4.8. And as we can see over here, Kyron Williams is far below that as well. So for the Raiders, they had one of their best rush defensive games of the whole season. And remember, they're missing their big boy in the middle, Christian Wilkins. They're the guy they signed to a massive, like $30 million a year contract. So they're missing their best guy against the run. And they had their best day against the run against a supposed all-pro Kyron Williams, who struggled all day, even getting as little as 1 to 2 yards on some key third and fourth downs. So I would say he's been far less than amazing. Oh, I do have one more thing. This, for those of you who don't know, this is yards per touch, which is a stat that determines how many yards you've had per how many receptions and rushes you've had. So it basically tries to figure out who's doing the most with each time they get an opportunity to get yards. And as you can see here, if we sort by least, Kyron Williams is the 10th least in the entire NFL. And among guys who's getting starter level carries and stuff, he is, I believe, the worst. Except for maybe, yeah, he's the only one who's getting starter level. These are all backups above him. So he's the worst starting running back in the NFL as far as yards per touch goes. You have a couple guys up here like Cam, but he only has, you're talking about, you're talking, no one's over 100 besides Cam, and you got a lot of guys over 100 touches. So I feel like he needed to be brought back down to earth. He's still having a crappy season.
All right.
Wait,
Congratulations, Kyron.
Congratulations, Kyron. You've had a
Kyron,
top 10
congratulations, baby.
run blocking O line, and you've been one of the worst running backs in football. Okay, next segment.
Oh man.
Oh no, stock up. Are we done with our offensive stock ups?
Yep.
Yeah, we can
Okay.
do defense.
Defensive stock ups. You know what? I'll leave you guys some meat with the safety guys. I am going to go to Kobe Turner. He wasn't on any of the fancy charts. He wasn't on any of the fancy stuff. He didn't get a sack. He didn't get any. He wasn't the pressure leader. But here's one of the reasons why I'm going with him is because I watched him game in and game out this season get tons of double teams, some triple teams, and he's really become an immovable object in the run game. And he's become a guy who's really having a quality season, getting past even multiple blockers to create pressure. Game in and game out, I feel like he's not appreciated enough with all the young studs. Braden Fisk is explosive, and Byron Young has got that nasty speed, and Verse is just beating everyone all the time. And Kobe kind of gets pushed aside as the guy who's not the shiny object in the room who's
Right.
doing all this stuff. But I'm telling you, Kobe Turner is doing all the right little things. He's doing all the right big things, and you got to remember he's playing the five tech, and from the five tech, that man is balling. He is really putting up high level pressures. Great in the run game. I mean, he's a top tier, defensive tackle in the NFL this year, and he's just not getting enough praise. And he really opens things up for everyone around him, and I think he needs to get more credit for that.
I feel that. Yeah.
Yeah. I'll just go ahead and go real fast. My stock up defensively is, like I said earlier, it's Kobe Durant. I think
Okay.
Kobe Durant had a
Yeah.
wonderful game.
Yeah.
He had a couple big plays that I really loved. The interception, of course, but then he had one sneaky great play against Brock Bowers in the end zone. So it
Mhm.
was a one-on-one. Brock sort of had inside leverage, and then Kobe reached over without having the ref to call a holding call. He reached
Yeah.
over and swiped the ball down.
That
So I
was
think that was
early on in the red zone, right?
yeah,
That
the
on like
red
a
zone.
third
Yep,
down. Yeah, I
yep,
remember.
yep.
Yeah, that was a
Kobe,
great play. Clean.
yep. Kobe being that size, being 5'8", 5'9", doing it against a really, really, really good big tight end in Brock Bowers. I think that was super dope. And Kobe to me, I feel like I said earlier, I feel like he's getting better and better. And I don't know yet if I would re-sign him after this year because I think no, next year is his last year. So I would probably think about re-signing him down the line because I think he's a good slot guy to have in this league because he's fast, he's quick. Like Ethan said earlier, he's really good if you put him in a slot and then blitz him. He's really good at that. So I think my stock is going to be Kobe Durant.
I like Kobe as a slot guy. I just don't like him on the outside.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
I yeah, that's a good. I mean, honestly, I thought about Durant. He played so well, and he's played really well in man coverage. He's been huge for us. I'm gonna say Cam Curl, and uh, man, this coaching staff probably had Rams fans thinking this guy can't play. Like he can play. You just have to learn how to use him. I think we talked about it already, but the staff took a step in the right direction. Just with how they used him closer to the line of scrimmage. He blitzed some. And then there were snaps where he did rotate out and cover a little bit deeper. And I think he was effective all day. And it's stock up, not just because he played well, but it's stock up as far as his role in the defense. I think, hopefully Shula continues to use him in the right way, and he can be a difference maker for us.
And he could be a guy who could be a green dot. Wasn't he a green dot with Washington for a little bit or no?
I'm not sure, actually. I'm not sure if he had the green dot for
We have a
Washington.
couple guys who are Commanders fan who watch. Let us know in the comment section if you ever had the green dot. He seems a guy like who's
Yeah.
capable of it though.
Yeah.
Um,
Smart dude for sure.
yeah. Okay, so let's go ahead and move on to stock down. I'll start with the offense. My stock down on offense was Matthew Stafford.
Yeah.
And I want to show this graphic, but this is just tough, man. He was 12 for 13 with an interception, throwing within 6 yards of the line of scrimmage. And then he was 2 for 10 on any pass beyond 7 yards downfield. And I know that we can make a laundry list of excuses, but I want to remind everyone that we're talking about a guy who we all agreed, future Hall of Famer, top 5 quarterback, elite quarterback. And I know that Mahomes can have some games where he's struggling, but man, Mahomes makes a lot of winning plays when the team needs it to. And Stafford hasn't been making any winning plays, even with the struggles and the injuries. And I don't want to hear any excuses about the pass blocking. Pass blocking has been good for like the last 3 or 4 weeks.
Yeah, it's
Um,
been good enough. It's been good enough.
it's been, I think it's even been better than good enough, to be honest. I mean, like he barely got pressured yesterday. Um, and I want to say the last 3 or 4 weeks, he's not gotten a ton of pressure, but he just seems frazzled. He's holding onto the ball too long. He's struggling to see what the defense is doing. He seems confused and lost at times, and we've seen him panicking. It's just uncharacteristic. And I also don't like the way the ball's been coming out of his hand. I don't know if he's got an injury that's causing him to not have the same zip and strength behind the balls that he's throwing, but it's been a concerning season and it's been a concerning last few weeks. And I was hopeful that coming out of the bye we would see more, and we didn't. And this is just an ugly passing chart. You 2 for 10 on passes over 7 yards. 7 yards. That's nothing. And it's just been a struggle. And so for that reason, he's my stock down.
yeah. My stock down is probably going to be the same thing this week. I don't know. I think I had Matt last week. No, but this week I'm gonna go with Matt again. I'm not all the way off. Well, I don't know if Ethan's all the way off, but I'm not super, down on Stafford yet. Just because, like I said previously, I want to see what he does when Puka's back. Speaking of Puka, I think he just got designated to return.
Yeah, he did.
Today.
That was
He's
So
awesome.
I
in his
think that,
21-day window though, so I doubt he plays on
yeah,
Thursday. He
No,
may
he
no,
not
I
did
even
know.
not.
play
Yeah,
it the way
he's
he
not on
after.
Thursday. I'm thinking about the Seahawks game in I think
Mhm.
12 days or something like that. I'm thinking the Seahawks game maybe. So that's a spark. But yeah, I want to see how he does when Coop's out there, when Puka's out there. I want to see how he does it. And if it's I don't want to say if, but I just want to see how it looks before I really go down. But he's been bad. And last yesterday was hard to watch sometimes. He was missing a lot of throws. He wasn't hitting guys on time. The one thing he's been doing all season, he's been taking sacks that he shouldn't take. He's not
Yep.
stepping up in the pocket. He's not doing what he's not his
He's-
pocket presence seems kind of off right now.
Yeah,
I don't know if he's feel like he's getting hit a lot, which he's not really, but it just something's going on with him mentally. I don't think he's seeing ghosts. We're seeing Sam Darnold this week, so speaking of Sam, but I don't think he's seeing ghosts. But I just think he just the pressure's sort of kind of getting to him. So Stafford's gonna be my stock down this week.
yeah. I mean, I can't disagree with you guys at all on that. And Joe, you were saying like you want to see once Puka and everyone's back. My leash is as short as this Thursday because you're getting Cooper Cup back and you're getting Jordan Whittington back.
Yes.
That's enough. Those are
Cooper
two.
Cup, Jordan Whittington,
Those
Tutu
are
Atwell.
yeah.
Hmm.
That's good enough.
Now,
Like
are we getting O line
you got to
help
make it
too?
happen this Thursday, huh?
Say it again,
Are we getting O line help back too?
I think
Joe Noteboom.
Noboom's
I
coming
mean,
back.
and
By the way,
he's
yeah,
going to be
that's a good
better at
point.
left guard than anyone else we're putting up there. So you're
Hmm.
talking about
Yep.
no more excuses,
Yeah.
and it's not as simple of a discussion as are we off of Stafford or not. The question is, are we off of Stafford for a first or second round pick? Because there is talk about teams being interested in Matthew Stafford. Whether there's been discussions or not is up for debate. People are saying the rumors are fake, but I guarantee you there's teams that are interested in Matthew Stafford. There's teams who are a quarterback away from being contenders. Like the Dolphins, Tua's back. We'll see how that works out. Like the Vikings, who may think that Darnold's not enough to get him over the edge or whatever. There's teams who may be a quarterback away from thinking they can do some real damage in the NFL.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. So I mean, this Thursday, man. Look, Jared Goff just okay. Look, I know Goff has a better supporting cast right now, but still, he did damage against that team. Like you got Whittington, you got Cup. I need to see it this Thursday from Stafford. But my stock down is it's might sound a little weird. It's Demarcus Robinson, and I say that because I didn't not that I thought he was like some great receiver, obviously, but like this guy might not even be like okay. Like he might not even be like a solid receiver. He might not even be like a serviceable. I mean, he's giving us like next to nothing, man. And I thought he was a little better than that.
They
Um,
will. You know what's so funny?
so
You know what's so funny about that? As you guys know, I'm a Lamar fan, so I speak to a lot of Ravens guys. And before we got Demarcus Robinson, one of the Ravens fans told me, he said, Demarcus Robinson, he shows flashes to where you think he's good, but just keep watching him and keep watching, and he's going to show that he's really not even mid, but he's really kind of a bad receiver. And that the one thing they always
not
say
even yeah,
is his
not even
balance.
mid, bro.
His balance.
So
So
funny.
you can see it when he can't get the extra foot down.
He never
He
can.
doesn't have great
Yeah,
balance. And
he's
that's
done
one
that
of
a
the
couple
things.
times too. There
Yeah.
was the
Yeah.
wasn't he the one who didn't get the
Yes.
Tutu Atwell throw? He couldn't get his second foot down.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's hilarious, Joe. By the way, that's I mean that's perfect. That's like exactly how I feel about him. And I think someone maybe Ethan made the point like just on a way earlier episode is like he only looked okay because Cooper Cup and Puka are
Mhm.
what they command in coverage. Then okay, yeah, Demarcus Robinson can come in and have a few catches, but like man, it was his time to step up, and he has not stepped up even a little bit. So stock down, man. He's just not very good. He's
Yeah.
just not good.
You nailed it. It was actually exactly what I said was that he can only make a play when he's getting no attention. That's
Yeah.
been the guy I've seen his whole career. And when he made plays last year, it was generally speaking a single coverage where he just beat a guy and got wide open. If there's anything more than that, he's never going to make a play. And that's proven out to be true throughout the season. He's just now that he's even remotely the focus of a guy, which is why I said the best possible spot for Demarcus Robinson is a fourth or fifth receiver. He cannot be a starter because if one of your guys goes down, you cannot rely on him to be a number 1 or 2. So
Tutu Atwell is better. I'll give him that.
yeah, and
I've been hard on Tutu. I'll take Tutu Atwell on my
I
team all
feel
day over D-Rob.
I feel pretty.
Yes,
I know
sir.
Joe loves that. Joe loves that.
I predicted that D-Rob. I actually predicted that D-Rob thing to a T, including Tutu and Whittington passing him up on the depth chart. So I'm pretty stoked about that.
Yeah. Oh, Whittington's so much better, man.
Yeah.
It's like we missed him
Yes.
big time
Yes,
on Sunday.
I
Like
think Stafford missed him.
Oh yeah.
Although
and I'm not, like I'm so high on. I mean, we all are at this point, but I'm high enough on Whittington to say that like if Whittington plays on Sunday, like Stafford might not have had an awful game. Like I think it really makes a huge difference.
anyways,
Yes,
you know what? I forgot to stock up. Probably the best player for the Rams. I just should agree one. The best player for the Rams on Sunday. Really not a guy we talk about often. Gardner Minshew. He was easily the best player the Rams had. MVP of the game, game ball. In fact, I hope Sean walked over to the locker room across the hall and gave him the game ball. He deserved it. All right, stock down defense. I'm gonna harp on this again, and I'm gonna keep harping on it because I already think he's not a starter, and now I'm at the point where I don't even think he's an NFL player, and that's Bobby Brown. I've already said that about Christian Rosewoom and Troy Reader. They can't be stock downs anmore.
They can't be stocked down anymore.
I've already said that they're not even qualified to be running the drive-thru at McDonald's. So. But Bobby Brown's just pure trash. And I was on voice with Joe while we were watching the game, and I mentioned him. Just Joe knows I was keeping an eye on this guy all game long. And in one play, it was funny because I was freaking out. I was like, dude, Bobby was being single blocked on a big run play. It was like 3rd and 2 or 3rd and 3, and he got. When I say moved, he got moved so badly on a one-on-one as a nose tackle that he ended up getting in the way of like 2 or 3 other defenders. And he single-handedly opened up the hole that allowed the easy run for a first down. It's however bad you think Bobby Brown is, he's worse. I'm telling you, he's not an NFL caliber player. He's a nose tackle who can't handle single blocks, let alone double teams. Like it darn near requires a supernatural moment for him to make a good play. It's just so bad. And when you add that on to terrible inside linebackers, the middle of the field might as well be the size of the Grand Canyon. If you want to throw there, if you want to run there, feel free. There's nothing the Rams can do to stop you.
Yeah, that's a problem.
Yeah, I don't really have a stock down defensively, just because I'm not talking about those linebackers anymore.
Right.
They're awful, and we know that, and they're going to continue to be awful probably until they stop playing football. So it's not going to be a stock down, but it's something that I keep seeing that, and these guys are amazing. Braden Fisk and Jared Verse are amazing, but I just want to keep saying that those missing tackles have to stop.
Yep.
There's been plenty of things where Braden Fisk had a missed sack, he had a missed tackle on the running back. Jared Verse, he had some missing plays. He did do better of corralling the running back last game. He had a tackle for loss, and he got the running back down a couple times, but they're still missing sacks and not holding on to the guy like I want them to. So it's not really a stock down, but it's just something that I just want to keep an eye on, and I think they just need to get better at that.
Yeah.
Just real quick, speaking of Reader, I at this point I don't care how good he is at the green dot. The only time I want to see Reader with headphones on is when he's asking, "Would you like fries with that?" That might be the only thing he's qualified to do over a headset.
Well, you saw they said they were going to give the green dot to Quentin Lake too. So I hope that they are trying to shift away where if Lake can do it too, that means okay, Reader doesn't have to be on the field. Hopefully that's the thought behind it.
We were told that there was going to be a shift at linebacker all game long, and I think the technicality is that they took them off the field and went into nickel and dime protections, but that's not good enough for me.
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, that's not good enough. My stock down is Cam Kinchens. I think he has been pretty much. I think we're not going to really see him back on the field much more. What's the 39? Jalen McCullough seems to have taken his snaps.
Yeah.
He played pretty well. I think Kinchens has basically lost his spot on the defense. We have other safeties that are playing better. So stock down.
Yeah, unfortunately for him, I think he needed to sit here, and
he's not ready.
It's not a situation for him to thrive in. He thrives as a deep safety guy, and we can't afford to do that because all of the actions in the middle of the field and the intermediate and short part of the field. That's not
Yeah.
where he thrives at all. I think once we have a more solid foundation around him, he can be a good safety. So it's not stocked down to McDonald's drive-through level like it is for Reader and
Right,
Roseman
right.
and
No, I
Brown,
haven't given up on him. Yeah.
but he's obviously not going to play many snaps the rest of the year, which is good.
Yeah.
Is that all the stock downs?
Yeah, I got that's
Okay.
all,
Yeah, I'm
all I
good.
got.
All right. Man, I want to think of another stock down because it's deserved, but we'll just move on. All right. Rams versus Vikings preview. This is a crazy one. The Vikings have actually been really good. They just took a tough loss to the Lions.
Yeah. Great game.
Old Ram Jared Goff game-winning drive set him up for a
Balled
field goal. Beautiful.
Shout out Jared Goff, man.
Balled out.
Shout out Jared Goff.
He's had a record-breaking set of 3 or 4 games. I think it's 4 straight games. He's breaking records all over the place. Got to be one of the MVP favorites right now. But let's go ahead and move on and take a look at the Rams offense versus the Vikings defense. Take a look at the depth chart. So it looks like Cooper Kupp is back and going to be playing next game. Jordan Whittington appears to be back as well. I would expect for Cooper Kupp, Tutu Atwell, and Jordan Whittington to be the starting receivers. I also expect for Logan Bruss to get replaced by either Justin Dedich, it looks like, or Joseph Noteboom. I mean, Dedich did well enough where they may give him. They may say, "Hey, you know what? We don't want to risk. We don't want to risk Noteboom because Noteboom's made out of paper mache, so you don't want to play him as he's coming back." They may play Dedich again.
Interesting. That'll be an interesting choice, actually. Yeah, that's something fun to try.
There's a really good chance I'm saying his name wrong. I'm picking Dedich and I'm going with it. It might be Dedek or something else. I
don't know. Yeah, I don't know either.
Okay, but yeah, so beyond that, our O-line is mostly healthy, and I consider it mostly healthy because for me, Bo Limmer's a starter. So like, as far as I'm concerned, we're missing one starter at this point. We're fairly healthy right now. We're only missing Puka and Avila. I mean, we'll get Jonah back, but I said I don't think there's much of a difference between what we're going to get from Jonah and what we're getting from Bo Limmer. So really, we're 2 starters short for this game, so I'm expecting the offense to do better.
Which is crazy to say, man.
It's been a bit. It's been a bit.
To say. But yeah, like if it was Jonah over the left guard, yeah, huge difference. But I think I agree with you over Bo Limmer. It's like I don't know how much of a difference it makes. So he's playing really well.
And then the defense of the Vikings, you got Jonathan Bullard, Harrison Phillips, Jerry Tillery, Jonathan Grenard, Van Ginkel, Cashman. I mean, their whole front 7 is just dominating. It's dominating the whole league. Ivan Pace is becoming one of the best inside linebackers in the NFL, which is crazy because I desperately wanted him in the draft. I think he went UDFA, which is just like, he went UDFA and then we didn't even sign the guy, which is, oh my gosh, I wanted him so bad. I was mocking him in the 4th and 5th round to us. You remember that, Joe? We were huge on Ivan Pace.
Yep, I remember that. Mm-hmm.
Secondary, I mean, Harrison Smith's actually playing one of the best years he's had in a long time. Byron Murphy Jr. is doing decent.
And he's old now, right? Harrison Smith's got to be up there.
Oh, yeah, I think he's mid-30s.
He's playing great, yeah.
Stephon Gilmore has been good for the most part, although he got roasted a couple times last game against the Lions. But it's a great defense. I want to say, in fact, let's just pull this up. So I know it's a little bit unconventional, but I really want to see where their defense's ranking is. I think it's one of the best defenses in football.
I know they actually give up a good amount of yards.
Okay, so this is great. So they're 6th in points against, and they're 19th in yards against. It's over here on the side. Now, but when you look at it, they're one of the worst against the pass, but they're one of the best against the run. They're top 3 against the run. So that's
basically
that's an interesting,
Matthew Stafford, no excuses. Basically,
Matthew Stafford, no excuses, and Kyron's about to be in his own personal hell.
Kyron Williams, 3.2 yards per carry incoming.
Whoa, that's so generous. He just did nothing against one of the worst front offenses.
He just had 3.7. Come on, or 3.8
against the bottom 5 rush defense.
Okay,
he's flip flop.
I don't know.
He could go sub 3.
I'll give him 3.2.
He could go sub 3, and he's gone sub 3 a couple times this season. It's possible. Look at Joe's face. He's so angry right now.
Congratulations, Kyron Williams. 22 touchdowns.
Congratulations to Blake Corum. He just looks better and better by the week. All right. So I think this is going to be an interesting matchup, though. I think Stafford should ball, and if he doesn't, I think, just to be real, I think we should really look at trading him. And he's got a lot of trade value because there's teams that think we can put him in a better situation with better supporting cast than the Rams are. And people know what Stafford can do in the playoffs. Even if he struggles throughout the season, people know Stafford's able to turn it around, have a big season, and it's like, it just boils down to a question from the Rams fans and front office perspective of, are we going to win a championship this year, or are we going to be ready to win one next year? And if the answer is no, I think you got to get rid of Stafford. You got to create that cap space. You got to get that draft capital, and begin to move on to the next quarterback in the Rams franchise. And it's nothing personal. In fact, it's nothing personal. Stafford won us a chip. He's been great. It's also doing Stafford a favor, letting him finish out getting him one more chance to try to win a chip. If we can't provide him that opportunity, then it's not bad or mistreating him to give him an opportunity that we can't give him. We just need to be able to make that determination here in the next week or two, and then either move on and start from scratch at QB, which, to be honest, like we talked about this a bunch of times, we believe Sean McVay can make a quarterback great. So let's see it. Let's see Sean with a rookie or an unmolded guy like Zach Wilson, just as an example, who had a great preseason. He basically will come for free, and we can see what he can do, or just obviously a rookie or something like that. I mean, can you guys think of another guy who's kind of like that Jared Goff, Baker Mayfield cast off that we might be able to turn around?
Not off the top of my head. I would rather draft someone.
I agree, but
I'm sure there are some.
What's some interesting rumors is because people are talking about us trading Stafford to the Vikings. Now, some people are saying there's nothing behind it, but that we would get Darnold in return in that trade, I think.
Oh no, you know who I'd want then? I'd want JJ McCarthy if they're going to take Stafford. I like JJ McCarthy, bro, and he looked good. It was a very small sample size, but he looked great.
I think Joe and I didn't like JJ much, but
I like JJ. I like JJ. Well, I'll put it this way: I like JJ more than Darnold. I mean, and I'm actually okay on Darnold. I think he's shown some ability.
I would rather have a rookie. I would rather have a rookie.
Yeah. No. Yeah. Agreed. Though. Bottom line is, I'd rather just draft someone.
All right.
But
okay, so let's switch over to the Rams D versus Vikings offense. And
Aaron Jones is gonna have.
We're healthy. We're as healthy as we've been all season. We're going to be in the same position health wise. Actually, Braden Fisk may not play, so we'll have to keep track of that. They said he got a sore back after that game, so we'll have to monitor that as it goes along. And on the Minnesota Vikings side, they're pretty darn healthy across the board. They've got their trio of receivers.
They're talented, man.
In fact, I heard that Kevin O'Connell said today Hawkinson's probably going to be back, or there's a good chance he's going to play Thursday. So
that would suck for us.
So speaking
we know how the middle of our defense is.
The Vikings, they're a top 10 scoring offense as well. They're number 6 in scoring. And you're talking about the passing offense has been really good. The running offense has been pretty mid. So you're talking about the running offense has been mid, but they haven't played the Rams yet. So Aaron Jones is about to go off.
I'm terrified of what Aaron Jones might do in this game. Like he's good enough to just go absolutely off against our defense.
Yep.
Who's their left tackle? Is it Dershaw?
The left tackle is Dershaw, and he's actually been really good this season. And he was really good last season. I know he's been balling.
He's been really good. Yeah. Yep. They hit on that pick for sure.
I think he struggled his first year or two, and then he's been balling ever since. So good for that. Yeah. Good for him.
That's a nice matchup. I want to see Jared versus what he does against Dershaw.
It's not key matchups yet, Joe.
Hey, but I'll say this. We talked a lot about, I think we had a good discussion about the defense. I think it was, fair on both sides, like optimism versus, it was against the Raiders and their receivers and all that. This is a great test right here, man. Justin Jefferson, Addison is really good too. Let's find out if this secondary is actually good. And these corners specifically haven't been tested like that in a few games.
Yes, totally agree.
So that's going to be really, really cool to see.
In fact, the times they have been tested, they let up great games against the receivers on the Bears and the Cardinals.
I mean, not the Bears, but the Cardinals. Yeah.
I mean, Caleb, that was the best passing game the Bears had all season.
Was it?
Yeah.
I thought they only had like 2 passes more than 7 yards or something like that.
When the receiver, it was Swift.
I think the Bears game, I think they were good, but the Cardinals game definitely, obviously, they were getting toasted.
Yeah, it looks like Swift did a lot of that heavy lifting. You're right. It was actually Swift and Cole Kmet. So the receivers didn't do much, even though it was the best game that Williams had.
But they didn't have to. The thing is that they didn't even have to. Like for all we know,
which is why you game plan us like that, because we're so susceptible to being attacked in the middle of the field. So
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to key matchups. I'm going to start with mine, and that's going to be Sean McVay versus Brian Flores. And I'll
Okay. I
expand it.
like
Sean
that.
McVay and Matthew Stafford versus Brian Flores. Brian Flores has
Mhm.
been just, I almost said a naughty word on here. He's been destroying offenses with exotic, heavy blitz packages. And it's interesting because it is schematically beaten. When the blitzing is that heavy, the protection can't do a lot because there's always going to be more rushers than there is blockers, right? You understand? You see what I'm saying? And so the Lions just dismantled that pass rush. Jared was basically perfect against the blitz. I don't know if you guys are aware of this, but I
Yeah,
think
I know. I saw
he
that.
was like 13 for 15 when under pressure, and he was like 11 for 12 against the blitz.
Yep.
He had a perfect passer rating when blitzed, and he was like 148 passer rating against pressure. So Jared played amazing.
Yeah.
That's where it's a two-headed monster, right? Because the scheme was prepared to dismantle the blitz through lots of creative things that Ben Johnson did, and also Jared was ready, strong and steady in the pocket. Dude, Jared got hit a lot in that game. He took a lot of shots, but he was steady, he was patient, and he was willing to stand in there and take a beating, knowing that the plays were well written up to dismantle what was coming. And the crazy thing is this is the same Brian Flores that the famous Miami game in 2020 where Jared got demolished, and it was
Yep.
called
I hated that game.
the end
I
of the Jared
hated
Goff era for the Rams was that game. Remember, people wrote about it. That game was
Yeah.
the end of the Jared Goff Sean McVay relationship, and it's up to Sean McVay to scheme a good thing, and for Matthew Stafford to trust in that scheme and deliver and know he's going to take some shots because the blitz is unstoppable. And so I think that's the most interesting matchup. No one has stopped that blitz mechanism all season until last week, and there's legitimately a blueprint. Like Ben
Yeah.
Johnson and Jared Goff created a blueprint. It's all over.
Right.
I mean, YouTube, Twitter, everywhere. All the NFL guys are saying, "Hey, they created a blueprint to dismantle this blitz scheme. Who is going to utilize it?" And so that's my favorite matchup. I want to see what Stafford with his guys can do and what Sean can dial up because pressure is going to be constant and it's going to be heavy.
Yeah. Ethan,
Yeah.
that's so funny, man. I literally in my notes, it literally says key matchup Vikings Stafford against the Blitz / Brian Flores. Literally everything you said, I have the exact same. That is exactly what I'm focused on, and like exactly like you said too. Like even if it's tough, man, you know what Jared Goff did? He stood in there against the blitz and made tough throws. So even if it's tough, even if there's pressure, even if it's not ideal, Matthew Stafford, you have to make it happen, man. Like it's no one
Jared,
said it was gonna be easy, but Jared made it happen, man. And yeah, so I mean, there's not much. The other good point you made though is like the blueprint thing. It kind of reminds me of like, well, I hope it's similar to in 2018 when the Bears, our offense was rolling, our team looked great, and then the Bears kind of like slowed us down, and then all of a sudden, like there was a couple teams that kind of like copied what they did and all that. I know that's on the reverse side of the ball, but to your point about the blueprint and like what they did against the blitz, like it's a good time to play them. I think literally last week you get to watch what Detroit did, and McVay better be up
totally.
up in there scheming, and I hope we can take advantage of that. But yeah, I had the exact same thing, man.
Yeah. Me real quick. My key matchup
Hey, can I
is
interrupt you real quick?
it
Sorry.
was going to be.
I just want to
Oh, go ahead.
piggyback on this because, first of all, I'm a Jared Goff stan. I'm one of the Rams fans who still likes Jared Goff. I know not everyone does, but I want to
I
show
did
this
too.
because this is what they did. They school against the blitz. No defense gets more out of the blitzes than Brian Flores, but Jared Goff destroyed it. And I'm going to give Ben Johnson credit because the scheme was made for it. 13 for
Mhm.
14. He completed 93% of his passes for 11.6 yards. He had a plus 66 EPA, which just means, I mean, I can't even begin to explain to you how insane that number is. That would be the best EPA in the NFL for the season, and it was against the blitz. Um, he's number one in the NFL against the blitz, but it's been scheme and quarterback balls. A lot of it is balls. It's just straight balls, and I'll tell you why. It's because the schemes that they utilize to counter the blitz a lot of times come with a guarantee you're going to get hit. It's like, hey, your Amon Ra's going to get open right here, or this guy's going to get open right there, or you're going to have this outlet, but you're going to get hit when you're throwing. You got to be ready. And so I'm excited. You know, I mean, that's one of the most intriguing key matchups we've had all season, I think.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun.
Yeah, yeah. Enough of Jared Goff. So one of my key matchup is I kind of spoiled it earlier with Verse and Darrisaw, so I'm gonna pivot a little bit to offensively.
Sure.
Um, my key matchup was Cooper Cup against the Vikings secondary. One thing that they have been susceptible to is the pass.
Mhm.
Um, I think I looked it up earlier. I think they were 29th in yards given up against the pass this season. So that's been one of
30th now
their
after this
weaknesses.
last game.
Yeah, so it's been one of their weaknesses this year. So I think that's something that Cooper Cup should be able to eat. Jordan Whittington too as well. But I'm just eyeing Cooper Cup just because he is the guy that I need to see a great game from. He's coming back after the high ankle sprain.
Yeah.
According to some guys, he really could have played last week if this was a playoff game, I guess. So I'm pretty sure he's pretty healthy. He had full practices this week. So I think Cooper Cup against that secondary should be a great matchup. And hopefully him and Stafford work that connection and we see a big game.
I'm looking for
Yeah.
10 plus catches from Cooper. I do want to show you something that happened because I think the main guy who will be guarding Cooper is Gilmore, or at least he'll be
Mhm.
guarding him quite a bit, Stephon Gilmore. And I want to show you something. This happened to Gilmore a couple times last game, but he's beatable with good footwork and good route running. And I want to show that I'm going to play a play. We might get flagged for this, but I want to play this play because this one shocked me. Gilmore, right here, number 2. This is Khalif Freeman. This isn't Amon Ra. This isn't Jameson Williams. This is Khalif Freeman. This is number 3. No, this is number 4 receiver for the Lions. Watch how badly cooked Gilmore gets on this play, bro. I mean, it's a short clip, but look at this. But he gets cooked. I mean, he ended up on his
Yeah.
backside from a fourth stringer, from a 4-string receiver. So yeah, I'm hoping and expecting big things from not just Cup, but Whittington, because Gilmore's getting up there in age, and I mean, he's not been bad, but I've seen some of this season from him.
Yeah. And to all
Yeah.
three of our points about, Stafford and Cup, I think sometimes balance is a little bit overrated. Like, look, if their passing defense is suspect and their run defense is really good, and Kyron Williams is averaging, less than 4 yards a clip, like I think this is just one of those games where maybe Stafford just needs to throw the ball 40 times, man. 40, even 45
Just
times.
Cooper Cup
Like
and Whittington getting fed
yeah,
two over the top.
especially now obviously the caveat is like if it's working, of course. But like what I mean is if it's a close game and the game script is like, we're in the game and Stafford looks like in any kind of rhythm, like I think just attack their weakness. Balance is kind of overrated. Like just attack them through the air, man. And like and then again, obviously if like we're running the ball to Kyron and it's just looking like it did against the Raiders, like 3 yards a clip, like don't try to just keep giving him those handoffs just for the sake of being balanced. Like, no, screw that. Put it in Stafford's hands 45 times and let's
So
just go after it like that.
a couple things to that point that I think I want to mention real quick. There's a couple of things that can be utilized to kill blitzes. And one thing that the Lions used a few times yesterday was they actually had a receiver come in motion and they hiked it as he was coming around in motion. And the receiver, instead of going out for a route, blocked the guy they knew was going to blitz, basically. So they were in Brian Flores' head, but they used that in motion guy. So obviously you're going to want to use Cooper Cup and Jordan Whittington for this, or maybe even Parkinson. But that motion guy was coming over. He was picking up one of the blitzers. And I think we're a team that's built for beating this kind of blitz. And I just want to paint a little picture for you, right? Is a play, just one play that I think could be a blitz killer for us. And that's you have Tutu and Whittington lined up on one side and Cooper Cup on the other. Okay. Just try to follow with me. And it's a simple thing. Tutu coming in motion and just doing a straight out, a quick out. Cooper Cup doing a 3 or 4 yard out, and then Whittington just doing a slant. You got two guys on the perimeter and a guy in the middle. We're talking about quick footwork. And depending on where the blitz is, Stafford, if he has either edge open, he's got both of those edge passes, or if the edges are taken up, he's got a guy over the middle. That's the kind of quick passing. I know it's kind of a hard visual to take in, but it's kind of passing plays that you got to run against the blitz because, especially with those two of those guys, Whittington and Cup being so good after the run. Think about Whittington. Think about them blitzing 8 people, and then Whittington catches the slant over the middle. He could go for 80
Right.
yards. Think about
Right.
that same thing with Cooper. How many times have we seen Cooper Cup on a blitz situation catch a quick out, make his one man miss, and then he's gone, right? Because your safeties are blitzing and there's a lot less coverage. When you run 8, there's only 3 people left in coverage. So when you blitz 8, so there's some options there for like we're one of the better yak teams in the NFL, especially with Whittington and Puka and Cup. We should freaking just get the ball quick in space and let them run. If they're going to blitz all day, we got to make them pay, and we have the
Yeah.
playmakers to do it. And by the way,
Yeah.
to that end, I would give Blake Corum some more run because
Yes,
the running
please.
it's not even a Blake versus Kyron thing. What it is the way you make a blitzing team pay through the run game is with screens, number one, and we know that Kyron just ain't that good in the receiving game. And
Yeah.
if there's a guy who's going to make an explosive play in space, it's going to be Blake Corum. And number two
On the
is
screen.
through a quick draw, and Kyron's just not quick enough to get through the 8 blitzers and get to the second level where Corum is. So I'd like to see him in that situation for that reason.
I hear that.
We probably won't, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
All right, let's move
I think
on.
we're going to see a lot of screen. You mentioned it. I think McVay's going to dial up a lot of screens, which I don't even know if I love because I feel like
They become
we've been
predictable.
very like hit or miss on actually more miss than hit. But anyway,
They become very predictable. I'm with you on that.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Keys to victory. I mean, let's just make this quick. Will might even agree to make it quick with me. It's just all about how Stafford and McVay handle the exotic blitzes from Brian Flores. I can't think of a more important facet to this game than that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't disagree with that. I had that as my key matchup. I feel you on that. I did write down something different, which was look, I think the cliche is like turnover margin, right? But I think especially in this game when they are a better team than us, like I don't think we win this game unless we're up in the turnover margin. And so what I had was pressure Sam Darnold and force him to make mistakes.
Yep.
This is kind of a run-on sentence and capitalize on those mistakes. All right. Awkward sentence,
Sure.
but pressure Sam Darnold, force mistakes, and capitalize on those mistakes. I think that's what's going to win us the game because Sam Darnold will make mistakes.
Sure.
Like he will throw it up a couple times, and yeah, we got to come down with 1 or 2 of those, and then we can win the game.
Great point.
Yeah. For me, we haven't mentioned them, and I think we just have to mention them. My keys to victory is Justin Jefferson is a superstar, but just make him a star. Don't
Okay.
let him come out there
Sure.
and be the best
I
receiver in
like that.
football like he is.
Just make him a
Just,
star.
just make him a
Just
star.
just
tone
make
down.
him a star. I like that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Can be
just tone him down. Just tone him down a little bit. This
Yeah.
year, he's been great. He hasn't actually to even be honest, he hasn't been best receiver in football like amazing, but he's still been like really, 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 really great.
Oh yeah.
So if we can just tone him down a little bit, double him, just put him in, be physical with him, and make it to where he just doesn't destroy us, I think we'll be in a good spot.
I feel that. Yeah, 100%.
Man, I'm terrified he's about to have his best game of the season.
Me
To be
too.
honest, I don't trust our outside receivers to contain him at all. And it's not a dig. I mean,
corners. Yeah.
it's D. Will is just not that kind of guy. He's not a lockdown guy. He's more of a playmaking corner. He's just never been a lockdown guy like Jalen or even Trey White earlier in his career. Yeah, I'm terrified of that proposition. I'm also terrified of the idea of having to guard Hawkinson and Aaron Jones with Troy Reader and Christian Roseman. That's the topic for
What has me nervous about it is like Quentin Lake over the top. Like if we had JJ3 for this game,
Yeah.
if we had John Johnson, I would feel a lot better about it.
Dude.
Once those corners get beat over the top, and the fact that it's like the last line of defense is probably going to be Lake, that has me.
Not
nervous.
only that, but it has me thinking that Shula's going to revert to playing Cameron Curl deep as well, and that's
Yeah, I hope
problematic.
not.
Oh
Yeah.
man. Okay. Well, the sudden dread we feel of thinking about Quentin Lake and Cameron Curl playing deep too much, and talking about Bobby Brown and Troy Reader and Christian Roseboom, and facing Justin Jefferson and all that. And now it's time for predictions. So we get the dread, and then it's time for the predictions. I'm gonna let you guys go first on this one.
Joe, do you want to go? You want to go, or should I go?
Yeah, I'll go.
All right.
So I'm looking at this 2 ways. So I can see this being a classic Sean McVay Rams game under the lights. Would they come out and win? I can totally see that. and I'm almost close to predicting that because
Well,
I just feel something, and I feel like that this is a statement game, and I feel like Sean McVay hasn't been slept on. I think he's concrete as a top 5 coach, but I feel like sometimes I just want the world to see Sean McVay is him. He's that guy when it comes to the offensive mind and making things happen. So I think I wouldn't be shocked if we pull it off,
is there
but
real quick? Is there anyone know the wellness check phone line we can call? Joe's overdosing on copium. We need someone
Wait,
to check
hold
make
up,
sure he
hold
doesn't.
up. He didn't
listen,
pick
hold
the
on though,
Rams yet.
hold on,
Let's
hold on
let's.
though, listen,
It's
listen.
already too
So
much copium.
so I think that can happen, and I wouldn't be surprised if it does happen, and because that's just something I can feel. But if I had to predict and just slowing down a little bit, I think that we probably lose this game. I think we lose a close one. I think it sort of feels like the Lions game in the playoffs last year, to where the Vikings getting what they want early, and then the Rams sort of slow them down and they start bringing it up, but just at the end we just can't pull it off because the defense is just not good enough. So I would say Vikings win 21-28.
21-28.
Okay.
Okay. Well, first of all, the Vegas line is the Vikings are only a 2.5 point favorite. I mean, Vegas has no bias. It's all about money. And that is a close. I was surprised about that spread. I don't know what you guys think about it, but
I actually think
that's
Vegas
surprising.
does have bias.
Well, I mean, it's not that they,
Their bias is in who they can take advantage of, and
yeah,
people like Joe who are still drunk on copium, I think is who they're trying to make money from in this situation.
right. That's a fair point.
Yeah,
But if,
I
in other
wouldn't
words,
I,
like if you
wouldn't bet
really
on
think
that.
it's that bad of a line, then you could just hammer the Vikings,
Yeah,
which
yeah, of course.
low key, I might do. All right, no, let me stop. This is a Rams podcast. This is the thing. Like, I mean, Joe, I more or less agree with your take. I think it's going to be one of those games where, like, right away, I think the Rams will show up. Like, you know how we talked about like this team, like if they don't start fast, a lot of times it's like, okay, they're not going to show up. I think it's a game where we come out like we play well. It's close for a lot of the game. I wanted to pick us to win. Even Joe, we were talking about it like last week when we were doing our whole copium rant about the next five. We were both saying we wanted to pick a Vikings upset, but from what I saw from the offense against the Raiders, I just can't do it. So I'm going to say we lose a close one. I'll say Vikings 26, Rams 23.
Say that again for me.
Vikings 26, Rams 23.
26-23. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I just, again, like one more thing I want to say is we've only been blown out one time this year. Every single other game has been close. We've lost a lot of close games. I mean, I think we're going to show up and lose, but I think we'll show up and lose a close one.
So before I get my prediction, I'm gonna say why I'm giving this prediction. When you look at the way that a Sean McVay run offense has success, there's two key components. So it looks like we lost Joe. I'll keep going. Joe, are you still with us? No, he dropped out. It's okay. We'll keep going. There's two key components to a Sean McVay led offense. The first thing being that the pass protection is solid, right?
Yeah.
And the second thing being the run game is successful. This is the
Yeah.
best. This is a top 3 run defense in the NFL, and I think they're top 3 in generating pressures with all those blitzes. It's just a bad matchup for us, and
That is a bad combo.
it's just every way that it lines up is negative for us. So I'm nervous, and so that for that reason I'm gonna pick 31-18 Vikings.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I mean, the only way we're going to win this game, like we talked about it, but Stafford has to ball out. Like
100%.
in one sentence, that's the game. Like we
Stafford and
both.
McVay, they just need to be in sync with a
Yeah,
great
yeah,
game plan and a great execution.
yeah. It can't be like, oh, Stafford played like pretty well. It's like he has to really carry the team on Thursday.
Right. We apologize for the technical difficulties. Joe's out, but we have 15 minutes to get this pod out, so we're gonna go ahead and finish this like this.
Yeah, we're gonna.
And get it uploaded. But we appreciate you guys watching. This was a really fun one. The Rams are on the brink of either turning the season around or possibly starting to sell some pieces off. So it's a really interesting time. But thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you guys next time.
Yep. Thanks for watching.